Nudging behavior change. An idea from Taboo. So I hate this idea of saying there's stages of change. So they teach it in school, saying that, people are pre-contemplative and they're contemplative and blah, blah, blah. And they, as people have to go through different phases before they actually get to change. It doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work that way. But I realize it's not so much about the idea that you think, oh, they're in this stage, they're in that stage. But it's actually the concept of nudging somebody along that's really interesting. And that is actually really useful. So I was thinking about this in terms of Taboo. I don't know if you know the game of Taboo, but this is a game you play usually with a large group, and somebody has a word on a card, and there's words that are taboo that they can't say. And they have to try to get you to guess the word. For example, it might be Big Mac, and the words you can't say are hamburger, McDonald's, Golden Arches, blah, 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 right? And so you have to find other ways to get people to think of a Big Mac and use words. You don't draw or anything, no hand gestures. And I remember realizing that girls and boys, because we split off into girls and boys, actually say it differently, as in they try to get people to guess in a different way. So for boys, they usually try to get you to get there in one stop. Go, right? You're like, okay, filling, delicious. You want to eat it. Sometimes they have deals. Like, okay. California special. Double blank. They don't get it. And then you try another tack, and then you try another tack, but you're just trying to get them to say it directly. Whereas some girls did it very differently. They try to get you to say something, and they use that something to say something else, and then something else. So for example, they think, okay, how could we get you to say McDonald's first? So you can say competitor to chains like Burger King when they, okay, McDonald's, okay, great. And McDonald's, has their most famous burger, and it's this, and they're like, okay, right? I guess I said burger, but McDonald's most famous item. And then you got it. So they go there in multiple steps, and this step may feel like it's leading away, but eventually they take you back to the answer. And so I think that's the interesting thing about this idea of different stages of behavior change. It's the concept that you don't get people there directly, you get people there eventually. And sometimes you do stuff that's not even supposedly getting you in the right direction, but you are moving there. And the best example I could use is this idea of establishing rapport, getting to know patients, developing a relationship, getting them to trust you. And so most people think that you do something right away, like, okay, it's my due diligence as a doctor to talk to them about their code status, whether if they were, seriously ill, whether they're resuscitated or not. Spend a lot of effort trying to convince them because you're 90, you have a lot of medical issues, you want to be do not resuscitate. But the thing is, maybe they don't. They don't know you. Are you saying you should just let them die? Why should they trust you? Just can't tell the difference in you and this guy off the street, right? And then the thing is, when you establish rapport, you build up relationship gradually, right? See, it's the same in the medical field, I feel, as in real life. Now, the caveat is some doctors don't have time. The ICU doctor, you're critically ill, they don't have time to establish rapport. They just got to talk to you about, do you want to be tubed or you don't, right? But for me, I work as a different role. I have time. I'll meet them probably tomorrow, the day after. So I'm not going to approach it all of a sudden. This cancer patient who's dying, I'm not going to say all of a sudden, hey, you should just go on hospice. I'll first just chat with them about random stuff, not medical related at all. Just establish a relationship, right? Get to know each other. And then you start talking about other stuff, and you might broach this topic someday, and it's more natural, casual, right? And so many people, I feel, are not doing the right thing or the best thing because they try to approach it right away. Even though you do have time, even though you need time, right? The game of Taboo is a time-based game. You get 60 minutes. And so boys, right? Those of us in college, we all thought, well, you just gotta get them, they gotta say it right away. We don't have time to waste. What are these girls doing, saying, saying this thing and then that thing and that thing and finally getting to the point, right? Just beating on about it, let's just get to the point. But people They don't want you to get to the point right away. They're not willing to accept change right away. You have to approach it gradually. And so now I think I'm working on a plan. I'm nudging them along a path, a prescribed course, right? And I have to do it this way because it's only beneficial, only good for the patient if I do it this way. I think this idea, right, of nudging people towards change or towards decisions is better. Because I just personally don't believe you should tell people, oh, you're going to die. You better do this. Like, fear is not a great way to communicate things to people, to get them to make decisions. Really building a relationship and saying, hey, now that I know you a little bit better, so you have these interests, I share some of these interests too. We have sort of similar beliefs. If I were you, I would do this. I was just putting it out there. Right? It's much more effective.